I want to move on because the other big issue that came out was this case, the special counsel report against Joe Biden and his handling of classified information. I just want to start with the media and the left like to point out that Biden cooperated, right? They keep saying, well, Joe Biden cooperated.
No.
The first thing I want to, but let's just, because I have a thought on that. But the first thing that I want to ask you as an attorney is, in a case, how much does cooperation and or intent matter to whether or not you broke the law or should be prosecuted?
Cooperation usually just matters for the penalty phase of a trial. Intent matters sometimes as to whether or not you committed the crime. Are you required to have mens rea? Is it something where just the fact that you did it means you committed the crime? But the fact that he supposedly cooperated and he didn't, I think the evidence is clear that he's had some of these documents for maybe 40 years. He had documents in his possession that he never had the authority even to take out of a secure facility. He was not the president of the United States. He did not have the authority to declassify anything he wanted. And everything they've said, it was just 3 or 4 documents. It was 6 documents. It was hundreds of pages. It was clearly locked and stored in a secure manner. No, it was in his garage next to his Corvette. It's wrong. Clearly, if you even use the standard that's being used for Donald Trump, even if you use an appropriate standard, what Joe Biden did was worse. He was not the president. He did not have the authority. He had these when he was a senator. He's on tape telling his person that's helping him write the book, oh, the classified documents are downstairs in the basement. Go get them.
I see that. To me, that this is what sort of blew my mind is I know I've read several stories over the years of contractors, government workers, et cetera, that took documents that mishandled them. No one asked them about their intent. In fact, in some cases, they said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't realize it was stuffed in there. And I said, I'm sorry, you're losing your clearance. You're being prosecuted or you're being fined. I just don't understand why, in this case, intent suddenly, it all mattered in this particular case, because to your point, he's telling the biographer, here's where the classified documents are. I mean, you couldn't have that's intent. I knew I had them. Here's where they are. And you, by the way, biographer who do not have a clearance can go look at them and use them.
Yeah, it's, I guess they figured that I was just sticking the documents in my socks when I stole them from the archives had already been used up, and they had to think of another excuse for the president. There's no excuse for this.
Right. The thing, and I wanted to this is what I was going to say, I was getting back to. They keep acting as though, well, he cooperated. And the thing that I find funny is, you brought this up, he had them for decades, years. And the only reason he brought this issue up, went looking for them and asked his team to cooperate, is because he watched what happened to Trump, right? So he's watching all this happen, go, oh my goodness, I might have some. I should have my team go look and flag it. But it wasn't like this was like, oh my gosh, it happened Tuesday afternoon at 5 and Wednesday morning I woke up and said, hey, let's do this. For decades, they were stored in insecure places. And the only reason that he brought this up is because he's watching on television what's happening to Trump and says, I better flag this before somebody else does.
Well, and then he didn't reach out to, the archives or to the appropriate authority. He reached out to his attorneys and said, hey, go find all this stuff at my house. Go find all this stuff at other places. And it sounds to me like it was months after they had done that they actually said, oh, yeah, we have it too, and turned it over. So he didn't cooperate.
Well, the thing that I find funny is I'm reading a lot of these media stories and the talking points the Dems have sent out about he was exonerated. And here's what page 1 of this report says. Our investigation uncovered evidence that President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after his vice presidency when he was a private citizen. He retained materials documenting his opposition to troop surge, including a classified handwritten memo he sent to President Obama over the 2009 Thanksgiving holiday, and related marked classified documents. FBI agents recovered these materials from Mr. Biden's Delaware garage and home office in December of 2022 and January of 2023. They knew, I mean, they keep saying he was exonerated. No, there's a difference between we're not going to take this to trial and you did nothing wrong.
Well, yes. And they didn't mention there that they also had documents that I believe were at the Penn Center. It wasn't just at his garage. It wasn't just at his office. They were at multiple locations.
Right.
They were moved. They were not secure. I mean, not to be impolite, but essentially the report said he's guilty. He's just too dumb to prosecute.
Right? No, it's yeah, exactly. We probably can't get a jury to convict them. I watch Law and Order, and it happens all the time where they'll say the evidence is there, but I don't think the jury will convict. So let's get a deal or do something. The thing that I thought was so funny is the outrage that these guys had at the report, obviously for the other part that we can talk about. But Biden's own lawyers were able to review this report before it came out, before Merrick Garland commented on it. They had an opportunity to give their input. They briefed him, and now they're mad at it.
Well, because there was too much truth in it. They wanted a report that would just gloss over what happened, and they expected a complicit investigator that would lie. And I think at some point the investigator said, look, you committed a crime. I'm not charging you with the crime, but I got to do something so I don't look like a total idiot.
The thing that I found funny was they're upset, obviously, with his characterization of him being a sympathetic old man with a poor memory, right? But the statute, the special counsel statute says that he needs to justify why he's not bringing charges. And he had to be able to say, I didn't bring the charges, even though I think he broke the law, because here's why a jury won't convict him, correct?
I guess, but something to remember is if he's been doing this for decades, he was not a senile old man, according to the investigator 10, 20 years ago.
Yes.
So
exactly.
To say that the jury won't convict him isn't to say that he didn't have the mental ability to know that what he was doing was wrong when he did it.
Yeah.
This is saying he's guilty as sin.
Well, and I think that's the thing. The last thing I want to do on this before we get to election stuff is that I remember not too long ago when all of these folks on the left of the media would rage about Donald Trump attacking the prosecutors and the judicial system and weaponizing the DOJ. And yet these guys sent out Kamala Harris on Friday to attack the prosecutor, to start threatening that Garland won't have his job in a second Biden term, which luckily we won't let happen anyway. But I think it's so funny how these guys were all in arms about President Trump talking about prosecutors until they didn't think the system was fair to them.
And name one political opponent that Trump prosecuted. Right. Name one individual that Trump twisted the law to go after. He didn't. It's all projection. It's all them claiming that President Trump was doing what they themselves are doing, or even not as bad as they're doing.